All right, so basically, I am here and I'm going to go over kind of one of our stories today. Um, Most recently, in our blog post, discussed 5101 and just kind of was a recap of what we'd done over the weekend. Um, Hopefully, this article resonates well with a lot of you guys that are just starting their journey towards FI and or maybe trying to figure out kind of what FI means to them. So, back to the basics. Our weekend meetup recap. This past weekend, Winnie and I drove up to the cities for 5101 meetup, and it turned out to be one of those deceptively simple gatherings that hits you harder and longer than you think about it. No spreadsheets, no tax code gymnastics, just a room full of people talking about what financial independence really means and how the journey shapes you long before you hit your number. FI isn't the finish line. It's the first flicker of freedom. The meetup kicked off with a question that seems basic but always reveals something deeper. What does FI mean to you? Some people talked about flexibility. Others talked about giving back, choosing their time, or reducing stress. The host defined FI as the moment your investments can fully support your lifestyle, the classic 4% rule. But here's the part that stuck with me. FI doesn't begin at the finish line. It begins the moment you realize FI is possible. That first spark. The moment you understand you can change your financial trajectory is the beginning of independence. Every step after that adds another layer of freedom. Your first emergency fund gives you breathing room. Your first debt payoff gives you confidence. Your first investment gives you momentum. Your first year of consistent saving gives you identity. FI isn't a single moment of arrival. It's a slow, steady shift in power from your job, your bills, your debts, your obligations, back to you, and that shift starts early. Independence grows like a child, not all at once, but bit by bit. Here's a metaphor I wish I have shared at the meetup. When we're talk about independence, most people picture the moment a kid turns 18 and moves out. That's the big independence milestone, the one everyone recognizes. But independence doesn't suddenly appear at 18. It grows slowly, in stages, through dozens of small wins. A baby learns to crawl is gaining independence. A toddler learning to feed themselves is gaining independence. A kid learning to read, make friends, solve problems, all independence. A teenager learning to drive, get a job, manage their time, independence. By the time they turn 18, independence isn't new, it's simply complete. Financial independence works the same way. We often talk about FI as it's only the moment you hit your number, the moment your investments can fully support your lifestyle. But, just like a kid, independence grows long before the official milestone. Every financial milestone adds independence. Your first emergency fund is crawling. Paying off your debt is walking. Your first investments are running. Your portfolio compounding is learning to drive. Coast Fi is your first part-time job. Full Fi is moving out and thriving on your own. Fi isn't just the final stage. It's all the little stages that come before it. Everyone giving you more freedom, more confidence, and more control over your life. Independence isn't a moment, it's a progression. The simplest wealth formula ever, and why it works. One of the slides broke down wealth into 4 steps. 1. Earn money. 2. Invest money. 3. Wait. 4. Freedom. It's almost comically simple, and yet it's the backbone of FIRE. We love our FIRE jargon, tax loss harvesting, Roth ladders, asset allocation, but the truth is that wealth is built through consistency, not complexity. The FIRE community doesn't worship complexity, it worships discipline. The financial order of operations, and why it's not one size fits all. We walked through the Money Guy Show's financial order of operations, which lays out a beginner-friendly roadmap: starter, emergency fund, employer match, high interest debt, full emergency fund, Roth contributions, max employer fund, hyper accumulation, prepay future expenses, prepay lower interest debt. But here's the part I love. Nobody in the room agreed 100% on the order. Some people argued the emergency fund should come first. Others argued the employer match should come first because it's free money. Some people said paying off debt early gave them psychological relief. Others said investing early gave them motivation. That's the beauty of FIRE. It's not dogma, it's a framework. And meetups like this remind you that your path doesn't have to look like anyone else. Why community matters, especially when you and your spouse are always aligned. This was one of the most meaningful parts of the meetup for Winnie and me. We're almost always in sync. When it comes to FIRE, we think the same way. We save the same way. We plan the same way. We rarely disagree on financial decisions. That's amazing for our relationship, but it also means we rarely challenge each other's assumptions. FIRE meetups fix that. They expose us to people who have different incomes, have different tax situations, have different risk tolerance, have different timelines, have different philosophies, have already made mistakes you haven't made yet. When you're surrounded by people who think differently, you grow differently. And for Winnie and me, that's invaluable. It keeps us sharp, it keeps us curious, it keeps us humble. It keeps us from drifting into groupthink. The FI community isn't just a support system, it's a calibration tool. Fees, indexing, and the silent portfolio killer. We spent time on advisor fees and how even a 1% fee can quietly drain your portfolio over 40 years. Add in mutual fund fees, active management, and tax consequences from constant buying and selling, and the drag becomes massive. This naturally led into indexing, the simple, boring, effective strategy most FIRE folks swear by. Indexing isn't sexy, but it's reliable, and reliability compounds. Compounding. Why early dollars hit harder, and why humans don't play the game like robots. This was one of the richest conversations of the meetup, and one of the most relatable. If we were robots, the path would be simple. Pay off every high-interest debt first, maximize every tax-advantaged account, invest only after the numbers say it's time. Never get emotional, never get discouraged, never lose momentum. Robots don't need motivation. They don't need to feel progress. They don't need to see wins along the way. They just follow the spreadsheet. But humans, we're wired completely differently. Humans need to see progress. Humans need to feel momentum. Humans need to experience wins early and often. Humans need to believe the effort is working, and that's where the FIRE journey gets interesting. When I started my own path, the mathematically optimal move would have been to throw every spare dollar at debt, but I didn't do that. I invested early, even when my numbers said I shouldn't, because seeing my money grow lit a fire in me, pun intended. Watching dividends hit my account, seeing my balance tick upward, feeling that first spark of compounding, it made me want to play the game harder. And here's the twist. That mathematically wrong decision ended up being the right decision because it kept me motivated enough to accelerate everything else. I paid off debt faster. I saved more aggressively. I stayed consistent. I stayed excited. The wrong move became the right move because it kept me in the game and made me play the game harder. This is something almost everyone in the FI community relates to. You can't spreadsheet your way through human behavior. You can't formula your way through motivation, and you can't optimize your way through psychology. The best plan is the one you'll actually stick to, and sometimes the path that looks inefficient on paper ends up being the fastest path in real life because it keeps you engaged, energized, and committed. FIRE isn't just math, it's a mindset, it's momentum, it's belief. And belief compounds just as powerfully as money. Taxes, Roth ladders, and account strategy. We dove into tax strategies, Roth conversion, ladders, Coast-Fi, Social Security considerations, traditional versus Roth contributions, and HSA investing. This is one of my favorite parts of FIRE because it shows how customizable your path can be. With the right planning, you can dramatically reduce your lifetime tax burden. Taxes aren't just numbers, they're levers. Want to we want to write an article just for this. Side hustles, the secret weapon of FIRE. Side hustles came up as one of the most common pillars of FI. Most people pursuing FI have some form of additional income, not because they're obsessed with money, but because they're trading today's time for tomorrow's freedom. Side hustles accelerate saving, building skills, and compound your future options. It's one of the pillars Winnie and I both love. Again, it means so much to us, we will give it its own blog. Final thoughts. This meetup reminded us that FIRE isn't complicated. It's accessible, flexible, and deeply personal. You don't need to be wealthy or perfect to start. You just need curiosity, consistency, and willingness to learn. And you don't even need to be in FIRE to be part of the community. Just show up, listen, ask questions, and learn from people walking the path. Their stories can be life-changing.